Okay, today I'm going to do a first impressions video on Assassination's Classroom because it just came out today. I know I've been very lazy about doing my review podcast, but don't worry, more are coming. But for now, I'm just going to do a quick first impression video with my girlfriend, Sammy. You might have know her, SS Chan VAA. She's in a lot of my fan dubs. Yeah. And she's read the manga. I haven't. This is the first time I've seen any Assassination Classroom read. I haven't read it, so I'll just give you my first impression real quick. We'll kind of go with it together. It basically seems like a very shonen-y GTO at the moment. GTO was more mature, had more perversion. This one is a little more over-the-top and silly, which is kind of funny because GTO was already over-the-top and silly. You know, we have this extremely... Well, I guess the difference is this teacher seems very qualified to be a teacher, while Onizuka wasn't actually qualified to be a teacher. While this guy seems qualified, he's just also the worst person ever to be a teacher because he's going to blow up the planet, and it's gonna work off that gimmick. So I guess the main concern for this series is it seems like a fun series. It really does. I mean, Koro-sensei seems really funny. Sammy's told me he's actually quite funny throughout, right?
Yeah, he gets even more entertaining as it goes on, especially when he gets to spend more time with the actual kids, because in each individual chapter, if it's going to be going like the manga, like pretty much the first episode copied and paste the chapter from what I recall, and if it continues to do that, you get to see how each of the kids bond with Koro-sensei along the line.
Well, you know, and some people like that. They like the one-to-one adaptation thing, you know, and some people might say, oh, I want something new. But I think a lot more anime fans, they want the one-on-one adaptation, and that's cool. But at the moment, considering the budget, I'm going to guess at least this first season will only be 13 episodes. I don't know if they'll do more. I don't know if they will wrap it up in 13 episodes. I don't know if they're going to wait for more material. Don't know how they're planning on doing things. But as for a first episode, it did make a good impression. It was fun. It had a really nice gimmick, and it had a really nice way of, you know, presenting itself. I mean, it was funny. My main concern, with it, is that Koro-sensei will be the only character that really makes an impression in this show, and that the other characters might be a little dull in comparison, which might be okay.
And that is where you're wrong.
Okay, see, I'm wrong. Why am I wrong? Why do you, well, actually, we don't want to spoil it for anyone who, you know, wants to see what happens, but apparently I'm wrong, so that's a good sign that there is going to be other characters, because that's my main concern with this show, is that the only one who's going to stand out is Koro-sensei, you know, and that's fine, because there are shows where one character basically runs the whole show, and that's like Watamote, you know, and if this show is kind of like that's great, you know, because Watamote was really entertaining. Would you say it's anything like that?
I didn't watch all of Watamote, though.
Oh, yeah, shame. I tried to get her to watch it, but she didn't watch it.
I did watch some episodes. I guess it was entertaining enough, though.
Would you say it's going to be kind of like that, where it's basically all about the gimmick of this character, or is it going to focus more on the other characters? Watamote only focused on Tomoko. Is this show mainly only going to focus on interactions with Koro-sensei?
I mean, it also goes into, like, the kids themselves, not just Koro-sensei, but Koro-sensei is a big part of it.
Okay, so it's going to be a little more like GTO. And that's cool. Like I said, the only concern is these characters, for a first impression, they don't seem particularly compelling in comparison.
You haven't met the one that makes the big impression. So.
Well, I'm hoping one does. I'm just saying, even if one does, the others might not. They might be dull. And, you know, in which case it will be entertaining, but I don't know. We'll see. The main character, considering he's suicidal, I'm like, what? I'm like, you're kind of crazy, main character. I mean, the delinquent class thing, I'm like, well, this main character is kind of crazy, you know? And I don't know if they're going to make that more interesting, or if the main character is just going to be that oddball character who's like, well, you know, I do this because... I just feel like it. I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought the episode was great. I actually really like how they kept to the source material because I'm one of those people with especially shonen shows. I'm a huge One Piece fan, and even though that they divert from some manga material with One Piece, they stick to the material source, and it looks like Assassination Classroom is going to stick to the manga, just based on what I've seen. They have plenty of content though where they can't, that like where they don't even need to make up an original ending, and all they have to do is just wait for more, like all the other popular ones.
But since the show is going to be episodic, it's not that they're going to make up an original ending per se. They might just choose to stop it at a certain place and then go with more if it's still popular. I think they are, unless it's a really big thing, I think they're branching a little bit away from making the continuous anime like they did with One Piece and Naruto, to the point where every episode you only get like 10 minutes of material and it's really dragged out. And, and Naruto was especially guilty of this, where every episode's just poorly directed, poorly paced, and just kind of atrocious, really, when you look at it compared to other anime, and you only watch it because Naruto's such a big thing,
They could do it like Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter, Madhouse put a lot of care into Hunter x Hunter, and maybe they'll put a lot of care into this. I'm not expecting Assassination's Classroom to be anywhere near the level of Hunter x Hunter, but it from the looks of it, it could be a fun show. And with that, that's our first impression. It looks pretty fun. You agree?
Oh, yeah.
You agree it's going to be pretty fun?
So far, it looks really good. I'm looking forward to it. Outside of a few other ones, this is the main one I waited for the entire year.
Okay. Well, hopefully it will deliver. If not, well, if it's only 13 episodes, then who cares? It's not a big time waster, right?
It could be 24.
It could be 24. Maybe it'll be 24. It's popular in Japan, so it might be 24. It's just based on the budget.
They have a lot of content.
Then again, the first episode of a lot of animes does usually have a high budget. So I just from the look of it, it looked like one of those, usually when it has a higher budget, it's usually only 13 these days, unless it's something super big like Attack on Titan or Sword Art Online. But we'll see. All right, thanks for watching, and I promise I'll have a visual novel review out soon. And I might have some anime reviews of some anime that I wasn't happy of that was an adaptation of a visual novel. But that's for another time. Thanks for watching. Just shut up. Okay, thanks for watching.